Something seemingly negative can turn into something very, very positive. How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today's video I'm going to be taking elements from a YouTuber that I recently discovered called Tim Forkin. He does some great videos on YouTube with an overarching concept of the theme, and also breaks down some statistics of what's been going on in his week, in his business, in his mindset. I really love that style of video making. I wanted to take some of the habits that I've been tracking over the last month and try and package it into a Tim Forkin style video. Here we go. First off, I want to say a huge thank you to the people that watched the last video. It was ridiculously long, very rambly, with no real concrete point, but it's still a work in progress. I'm figuring out what way I want to do this sort of video making, so I appreciate those that give me the patience and time to figure it out. If you didn't get to watch the last video, trust me, that is completely fine. But in it, I spoke about a book that I've been reading called Atomic Habits by James Clear. I finished the book when I got back from holiday, and I've tried to implement some of the habits that are in that book, some of the strategies to start building positive habits and tearing down negative habits. I made myself a habit tracking spreadsheet, which I've been using now since the end of August up until this is now October 6th when I'm recording this video. So I've got a couple of reps under my belt from tracking habits daily. I just want to run through how things went and plans for the future. September was the first month I could fill all 30 days worth of habit tracking and have some actual statistics to run through. So here we go. One of my main habits that I want to develop, and I have been pursuing a lot, is reading. I never enjoyed reading, but through the month of September, I was able to read for 26 out of the 30 days. On the days that I missed my reading opportunities, it was likely I had come home far too late and didn't want to stay up past midnight to read. So I just took a loss on that day. The way I've been quantifying my reading is a minimum of 10 minutes every day. And that's what these 26 days accounted for. If I went over that, that's fine. But minimum was 10 minutes. Another one of the challenges was to drink more water. This one was a bit of a gray area for me. I didn't know how I wanted to quantify it. I have a protein shaker that I was trying to drink 3 of per day, which is a lot more water than I've ever been used to drinking. That became a lot more unrealistic as the month was progressing. So I just have reduced the criteria to, if I decide to have a glass of water or a pint of water over another beverage that I was gonna drink, such as a soft drink or alcoholic beverage, or I'll give myself the tick for the habit. Overall, for drinking water, I was able to do it 29 out of 30 days. There was only one day that I didn't drink my requested or minimum amount of water per day. It's a vast change from what I used to be like drinking water. It was few and far between, so 29 days ain't bad. Another one that was mentioned in my last video was electric cigarettes or vaping. I have not bought a vape. I have not been smoking other people's vapes for the entire month of September. So that is one of the only 2 things on this list that I completed every single day. So, I mean, habit achieved. What more do I want? Meditation's the next one on my list. I used to love meditation. I know how good it can be for your mental health, your physical health, your breathing and whatnot. For some reason, I just can't get myself to get back into the routine of meditating regularly. Out of the month of September, I only managed to do 7 days worth of meditation. Criteria for the meditation was to do a minimum of 1 minute, which does not sound like a lot at all. And if I went over my 1 minute, I would give myself the full completion tick, but the minimum was 1 minute, 60 seconds of meditation per day, and I was only able to get a week's worth of meditation done. 7 minutes of meditation, if not a wee bit more than that. This habit's going to take a little bit more of an intentional push on my end to try and bring it back into my regular habits. This is the second one on my list that I was actually able to accomplish over the 30 days, but I think it's because of how big the criteria was. It was to do something morally good in a given day, whether that's to compliment someone, to buy someone something without them asking for it, things like that. And just providing a little outward send of positivity. That was the goal for my moral good. And according to myself, whatever way I'm able to justify it, I was able to do it for all 30 days of September. It involved me just complimenting those around me, doing things that I didn't need to do to try and help other people, even complimenting strangers. The reason I want to do something morally good every day is just to build up that good karma. I'm not expecting things to come back to me because of that, but passing out that positive energy has to do something good for yourself, your mental health in the long run. So that's the premise of doing something morally good. Next one's an easy one for me, walking Meg twice per day. Minimum requirement is 1 per day, but ideally twice per day. What she benefits the most from. I was able to do that 26 days out of the 30. That is only because we were on holiday for the first couple days of September. Since I got back from my holiday, I haven't missed a day of walking with Meg. I get into a weird mindset of treating walking Meg as a chore as opposed to a luxury, but I do genuinely enjoy getting out daily, getting some fresh air and letting her have a bit of stretching legs time and sniffing around the neighborhood and stuff like that. So it's mutually beneficial for both of us. Training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. This was quite a scarce one because of, as I said, I was on holiday. I typically only get to do jiu-jitsu twice in a week. So if on that day I'm not able to, or I have other arrangements that I need to weigh up, jiu-jitsu takes a big hit, unfortunately. Out of the 30 days, I was able to practice jiu-jitsu 6 times. One of these was a competition, which is included in this list. And I'll talk more about that momentarily. I've been able to keep up my habit of journaling over the month of September. I was able to journal daily for 27 out of the 30 days, and like the reading portion of the habit tracker, it was mostly due to coming home far too late and not giving myself the time to sit and write how things are going or what's been going on in a day. But 27 out of 30, I'm well happy with that. The habit is still going on as we speak, and I'm enjoying the process of it. Journaling's going well. I'm going to pair up the next couple on the tracker because they usually happen in tandem. I have my cold showers, which are at the end of my normal shower. So over the month of September, I was increasing these showers because I was running so much. So both of those habits have had an influx this month over any other month. For my cold shower, I was able to do it 22 out of 30 times in the month, and my running was up to 20 out of 30. Running took an absolute influx this month because I was completing the Crohn's and Colitis UK running challenge. I was challenged to run 60 miles over the month of September to raise money for the charity. Running absolutely took over all of my September, which is surprising that it only shows up as 20 out of 30 days. I took a lot of rest days, but pushed myself to the absolute max on my other days. By the end of September, I was able to complete my 60 miles. I actually pushed it 61 miles out of 60, and we raised as a whole £364 for Crohn's and Colitis UK, which is absolutely mental. I've never actually raised that much money for charity before. I've done a couple of charity events just privately, but never earned something quite as substantial as £364 when the target was only 150. So I've been blown away by people's generosity, and I'm also getting some physical fitness out of it all, so win-win. I had a lot of dental problems over September, right before I went on holiday as well. It was a nightmare, so I've been intentionally brushing my teeth and gums as much as possible. So we got 26 out of 30 days hitting the maximum mark. The minimum marks were obviously a couple of days where I either came home late and fell asleep without brushing my teeth, or ran off to work without doing both sets of teeth brushing. So again, 26 out of 30 ain't bad for serious intentional gum health and hygiene. At the tail end of my holiday, I wanted to add push-ups into my daily habit tracking. A minimum of 10 push-ups is what I was going for. Overall, the month of September, I managed to do a minimum of 10 push-ups 24 times out of the 30 days of September. Push-ups are not my strong suit, as I have a lot of wrist injuries from skateboarding and jiu-jitsu in the past. I have, however, done another charity event of doing push-ups, 100 push-ups a day for the month of August. I think it was last year. I did that alongside Phil, a guy I work with. We totaled 6,000 push-ups between the two of us, which was absolutely mental. But I really enjoyed that challenge. And I think doing the push-ups built a bit of strength in my wrists and in my arms. So I wanted to introduce that habit again. So 10 a day is the minimum. I haven't actually done any today, so I need to get that done. And finally, my most difficult challenge yet was the no energy drinks. I really did my best through the month of September. Found it very hard once I had relapsed, for lack of a better word, to get back on the bandwagon. The total days that I went without energy drinks was 21 out of 30. So that is having 9 energy drinks over the month of September, which is a drastic decrease compared to what I was drinking before then. I've kind of fallen off a little bit, got a bit lackadaisical this month with the energy drinks, but again, I'm just a human. It's a work in progress, but that was a drastic change from what it had been. And that's my habits. I lost a bit of motivation with the habit tracker. I had to redesign it and it's not looking as good as the original ones. I've lost the original file, which has also kind of hindered my motivation for keeping up with it. But I am still tracking daily despite it not looking great. It's something that I'm working on. I don't want to just drop this after 1 month. I want to do this for as long as I can to get some sort of results of what I can do in, say, 2 months, 3 months, a year. So I'm going to keep habit tracking for as long as possible and see how that fares for me. This section's where I'm going to talk about the good things that have been going on in September. Some of the highlights of my September have been the absolute amazing holiday I had in Benidorm with Erin and her mum and dad. It was a fantastic time, some sun, some drinks, and a good bit of running and exercise as well. So overall, fantastic trip. Some of the highlights in that trip was going from bar to bar, watching loads of different tribute acts, having some great food, and also teaching Erin's mum how to play pool. Just amazing fun, and I would love to go back. Over the month, I was able to finish 3 books, which is a pretty good record for someone that never used to read. I was able to finish Atomic Habits. I started a book called The 4 Agreements that my cousin suggested to me. And I also finished a book that I bought ages ago called Show Your Work. That was the 3 books that I finished in the month of September. I'm now currently on another book called The Song of Achilles, and I'm about halfway through it. So the reading habit has really ramped up the amount of books I've been able to read, so I'm very happy with that. As I mentioned before, I was able to raise £364 for the Crohn's and Colitis UK charity by running 60 miles over the month of September. Ben was my inspiration for joining this challenge. He was able to complete his 60 miles and I finished mine, and we both raised a lot of money for the charity. It was great for my personal fitness. I got a load of audiobooks listened to while I was running. I was able to complete a couple of runs with Ben. I did some with my work colleagues. I also did a couple of park runs and pushed some personal bests in my running. So this month has been absolutely amazing for my running statistics. What I want to talk about now is how something seemingly negative can turn into something very, very positive. At the end of August, my granny on my father's side passed away, only a couple of months after my granda had passed away. So 2 funerals within the span of a couple of months. Very, very sad time for the family, but at those funerals, I was able to reconnect with cousins that I'd kind of fallen out of touch with, for lack of a better word. My cousin Adam has been looking to train some form of martial arts, and at my granda's funeral, we spoke about he could train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with me up in Antrim. I would pick him up, take him there, and we could start building that routine for him. Nothing actually came of it until my granny's funeral, when we revisited the conversation. Adam has now moved into student accommodation in Belfast. I still go to Jiu-Jitsu, and there's a bus from his accommodation to my house, and everything just seemed to align. I've been speaking so much more to Adam in the last month than I have probably ever. So from this seemingly negative situation of both grandparents passing away in 1 year, I've been able to build this deep-rooted connection with my cousin that I never would have had before. So I don't know if that was my granny and granda's intention as they passed on, but I've been very, very lucky to build quite a close relationship with Adam, who is now training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with me, who I text regularly, and we're sharing book recommendations with each other. So I am quite grateful for the way things have turned out for us. Lastly, despite my jiu-jitsu taking a big hit over the month of September due to laziness and holidays, I did have a jiu-jitsu competition, and in my opinion, this was the best competition I've ever taken part in. I entered myself into the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu League, run by Queen's University Belfast and their Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu section. I was actually able to walk away with 2 bronze medals, a couple more wins added on to my smooth comp statistics. The reason I say that this is the best competition I've been in, despite having bronze medals, which means I didn't actually win, it was my mindset going into it and in between each match. I find it very difficult to get rid of the nerves before a competition and to stop thinking negatively when I have situations where I'm losing quite regularly. This competition, for the first time ever, was one that I went in with quite a level head. I wasn't making assumptions on what was going to happen. I promised myself that I would do my best in every single match despite winning or losing. And the mentality of learning over winning helped me tremendously throughout the competition. I was actually able to build a bit more of a network in jiu-jitsu because I had a lot of people coming up and speaking to me just from my performance, or whether it be the referees commenting on the matches or other white belts, blue belts, purple belts coming up and interacting with me. I typically don't do this sort of thing. I'm very socially awkward despite how extroverted I can be. So this was a step forward in building connections in jiu-jitsu space and not just being limited to the people in my club and those that I know. I was able to get 1 win by a submission and 1 win on points, and the rest of the 4 matches were losses, but I am on such a high from the wins that I did not care about the losses, and I've learned a lot in the process. So that's how that went. One thing I wanted to tack on to the end, I finished the book Show Your Work, which talks about getting your creative stuff out there, kind of what I'm doing with the YouTube channel. But I also made myself a website for the first time ever. On there, I'm hoping to post a couple of creative projects that I've been doing or working on or thinking about. Basically just a website for me to brain dump on. There's also a blog section on the site that I'm gonna try and update as often as I can. So I made myself a website. I'm pretty proud of that. Challenges going forth into October. I want to up my quantity of meditation. That was one that suffered greatly over September, same as my Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu training. 2 times a week is plenty of training, but I can take those extra steps in my downtime to also build my Jiu-Jitsu knowledge. Just because I'm a blue belt now doesn't mean I can stop learning. And by teaching people like my cousin, who's a fresh white belt, it's going to help me develop more skills and develop my own sort of Jiu-Jitsu game. So the month of October, I'm dedicated towards that. Running's probably going to take a big back seat this month because September was pretty crazy for the amount of running that I was doing. I do want to keep the habit up. I don't want to just lose it after the charity event has been done. So I will try and enter a couple of park runs on the Saturdays and just try and build that longevity running. I would like to do a half marathon at some stage. I know the Belfast half marathon happened recently, and one of my good friends took part in it and absolutely smashed it. So that is a long-term goal for my running, but right now I just want to keep it consistent. I have to stay under 80 kilograms for this jiu-jitsu competition next Saturday, but after that I have no obligations as to what weight I need to stay, and I would like to start trying to bulk a bit and put some more muscle on so that when I come back and train jiu-jitsu I have a bit more strength. So that's something that's in the works. I have no real plan or pathway on how I'm going to do that yet, but it's something that I've been thinking about, and I just want to put it down here to remind myself that I'm serious about it. Overall, I've had a fantastic month of September, coming out of the summer period and sort of into winter now. We've got spooky season coming up with October, and then Christmas shortly after that. And in the new year, I have a lot of big plans. So yeah, I just wanted to get another video on the board, and now I'm gonna go edit this thing because yeah, that's what I gotta do. Thanks very much for watching and taking the time to listen to me ramble. I love you loads. Bye.